Okay guys, well here is my first cut at a 3D reusable mining business emulation environment. You might think about this as a draft functional spec just to get an idea. Now, I'm presuming that you already know some of what I've been talking about in terms of the industrial applications of neuroplasticity in mining. And what this is saying is it's possible to get the brain to radically reorganize itself and move itself into a state that it can see things it couldn't be seen before. So the need is a 3D virtual mining emulation environment that is multiplayer, so up to about 50 people. Same time, same place, so they're going to be in a conference room or an environment where they can see one another and react to one another in real time, real physical space. And that this environment has multi-use. It can be used many times over. In other words, that's going to drive the cost per head down. It's cascadable, which means that it can be taken throughout the whole of the organization and reconfigured as it goes. So what we're doing is we're gamifying work. And we're essentially going to take the elements of neuroplasticity and use it as a cognitive accelerant in an already powerful environment, a video game, a 3D video game of work. And we're going to do this to achieve extraordinary outcomes, the 400%, the kinds of things we've seen with Jelopech. So here we've got Marcin's video. This is the one that he's had done for a client, and what we see is we see the open pit, we see the underground, and here we see a truck going through the inside of the tunnel. And it's just a single player at this point. It's not very realistic, although we can see some of the boundaries that are around the truck. But I want you to hold that idea for a while, that we're actually modeling a truck in a mining environment, going through tunnels, having to make their way up through ramps, and all of the complexity that's involved in something quite as simple as driving a truck, and bringing it through in such a way that the players can see where the truck is and get a sense of the experience of being in that truck. So that's the first idea that I want you to consider. The next aspect is the multiplayer. This game, this environment, is going to be played by probably up to about 50 people at the same time. I'm not sure of the exact numbers. That's a good design number to work for. And again, I want to emphasize this is same time, same place. We could work it over a network, but there are many advantages of bringing people physically together. And you'll notice as well there's highly visible granular performance metrics happening at the same time. So we've got lots of players, lots of tasks happening simultaneously where they can collide with one another, and we can see very quickly how we're doing. The only thing about this video is it doesn't look very realistic. It doesn't really trigger the brain to go, oh yes, I'm at work. So that takes us to our next idea, which is, and this sketch was done in Second Life quite a few years ago, 2007. This is actually a multiplayer game. There are 6 or 7 players can play this very simple game, and elements of the real world are instantiated in a virtual world. And so in this case, what we're doing is we're taking real life trucks and we're saying, what's it take to load them up safely from this truck and this shovel, and be able to send them on the way. So the aspects like the shovel are emulated in the game, the trucks themselves are, and the crushers and various other aspects. Now here again we see the idea of highly visible metrics. As the game is played, players need to see how they're doing. And here's another shot. Now you can see the block model. You can see there's activity happening down in the mine itself simultaneously with us generating safe production. And you can see a little incident just happen here. What, these guys aren't paying attention, and that was really, really close. And they would be dinged for that if we were emphasizing safety. And so here's the truck now delivering its ore to the crusher, whatever it may happen to be. Now the next idea is to begin to use much more veridical, and that means looks real, video representation, and this is where Dassault's 3D tools really, really work. And here you can see, I mean, your brain would know exactly what was going on. Different types of tasks. This is more taken from a training aspect. I want you to focus on how real everything looks and how your brain very easily could imagine that it's at work and doing these kinds of things. So we need that aspect as well, this idea that it looks very real. And then the final piece is to kind of put it all together, and this is going to be very busy. I'm going to take all those 4 ideas and combine them together, and what we're looking for is the intersection. We've got open pit and underground. We've got multiplayer playing together. They are playing simultaneously, and there's lots of very visible metrics, and it's very realistic as we look at it. And the emulation I'm talking about is really at the intersection of these 4 movies. So just look at it for a moment so you get an idea. Pretty powerful, isn't it? Pretty powerful. Because what we're looking at here, as I said at the start, the industrial application of neuroplasticity. The need is to get a 3D virtual mining emulation environment that's multiplayer, same time, same place, multi-use, cascadable, reconfigurable, where we're gamifying work using neuroplasticity as a very powerful cognitive accelerant so we can achieve extraordinary, and I mean 400% plus types of returns.